I've let fear hold me back from pursuing certain things. It's not fear of doing those things, but it's a fear of getting into it and not being able to get out of it. I actually have an issue with commitment. Not commitment to my family, not commitment to my wife, not that kind of commitment, not commitment in that kind of way, but commitment to myself, to starting things. And the reason I might have that issue with commitment is because I have a fear, of starting something and then feeling lost and not knowing how to get out of that. How do I get out of these woods? An example of that could be like volunteering my time. I had a situation where I was volunteering my time on something that I enjoyed doing, but I was volunteering my time and it lasted a duration of into 4 years. And I couldn't find a way to get to a different point on it. I think that weighs on my mind. So the next time I have an opportunity to do something, I don't jump on the opportunity to do something. In fact, the reverse, I procrastinate and I don't go on that journey because I'm afraid that if I do start it, I'm not going to know how to get out of it.
The tip jar.
So the best way to avoid getting lost in the woods, don't go in the woods in the first place. I know that a lot of the practices of gratitude and positive thinking, revolve around examining what you have and being grateful for what you have. So I do a lot of exercises where I lie in bed and I will think about the things that I am grateful for. I am thankful for this. I am grateful that this happened. And it can be something like, I'm really glad that when I dropped my camera, I caught it before it hit the floor and broke. That was one thing I was grateful for. I didn't break my camera. It can be anything. I might be laying in bed and think, I'm really grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my daughters. They're developing into these beautiful young ladies with great personalities. I'm grateful for my wife. My wife, is my rock. She has the answers that I don't have a lot of times. So, it can be anything. I'm grateful for the wind was blowing today and it felt good while I was walking. I started a gratitude journal and I write these things down. I mean, the reason I've started the journal is because the practice of just laying in bed and thinking of it, well, you have a tendency sometimes to get to a point where did I already say thank you for this? Or was that yesterday? Or, did I do it this week? Or was that last week? So and now I'm in the process, as much as possible, writing down in my gratitude journal, just so I know where I am and the different things. And it's also to open my eyes to things that I may not recognize yet. I might read back and say, I was thankful for this and this, but how come I didn't say thank you for this? Because, this actually also was the result of those two things happening. So it is interesting. And one of the things that I'm noticing is if there's times where you struggle to find something to be grateful for, because, it's tough, it's stressful, you're not really recognizing a happy week, but, you wonder what you can write about. Well, it's also okay to look at things about your personality that you want to change, different characteristic traits. Here's an example of something that I really have decided that I want to focus on, and it's all around pettiness. I was on Thanksgiving weekend, Thanksgiving Day, my wife was cooking in the kitchen, and she needed me to go to the grocery store to get some things, and I was also supposed to go get my daughter from gymnastics, and so I would do those two things at the same time. But she also was like, well, I need cream. Can you get some cream for this thing that I'm making? And it can't wait until you go to the grocery store. Can you just go up to the corner store before you go to get Grace? And I was like, yeah, okay, I can do that. So I went up to the store. I walked in, went to the section where I grabbed the cream that I needed, and had cash to pay. It was going to be a really quick trip. So I walked in, grabbed the thing. As I was walking to the counter, something caught my eye, and I stopped. And I took a step back and looked. And that motion of taking the step back actually prompted a lady who was doing something else to look at, she noticed me. And she was like, oh, he's going to the counter, but he stopped. And so she picked up her things and she went to the counter before me. It happens, it's like I stopped to look at something. It's like I can't change that. So let her go. And so I'm standing at the counter waiting for her to pay for her things. I've got my cream, I got my cash. And she's going through and she pulls out her pocketbook, and she goes, oh, I'll take a lottery ticket. And so now the guy's got to punch in for a lottery ticket. It takes a second to print. It's just more time getting added on. And then he says, that'll be X amount of dollars, whatever. And she starts going through her little change purse, pulling out the change and counting it, and realizing that she's short. And she looks in her pocket and counts some more, and she's still short. And I'm standing here, I've got change on me. I'm just like thinking, how much are you short? I'll pay for you, But before I could get my hand in to see how much change I had, she's like, oh, I'll use my bank card. And she puts her change away into her little pocket purse and snaps it shut, and then pulls out her bank card and gives it to the clerk. And he starts, he swipes it and puts it, all the information, and hands it back to her. And she puts in her PIN number and hands it back to him. And then it's declined. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong PIN number. And I'm standing there just feeling the temperature rise. I'm trying to be patient, but I stopped for a split second and she got in front of me, and now it's costing me so much time. She finally pays for everything and she goes out the door, and I go up to the counter. I give the guy my cash. I pay for my cream, and I'm out the door split second after her. Not long. But she's before me, and as a result, she's in her car and backs out before I can back out. And now she's behind me, and I can't leave. So she's causing me to wait again. And I look in my rearview mirror and I can see her pick up her phone. And, I originally got frustrated because I thought, what's she friggin' doing? She's calling someone now and behind me? But really in hindsight, she might have just been queuing up her playlist. It wasn't that long, and then she went. But in the time that it took her to queue up her playlist or whatever she was doing, a car in front of her backed out and pulled in front of her. Now she couldn't go, and he was going to go, and he left to go out one way, and she followed, and she's now stuck behind him. And I actually was waiting and waiting, and finally I got to back out, and I went this way because I'm going back home, so I'm going in a different direction. And I'm looking in my rearview mirror, and I see her. She's stuck behind this guy, and now this guy is doing something, and he's not going. And the biggest smile on my face, I was just so giddy. I was like, literally, I was delighted in the fact that now she was stuck waiting. It was like karma. But I had to actually stop and think about it. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, this is probably not a good thing for me to be grateful for. It's actually petty. I'm taking delight in someone else's suffering now. And that cued me into the fact that that's something that I want to change about my personality. I can be petty. I take great delight when I see things like that happen. So this is something I'm going to work on. This is going into maybe a back portion of my gratitude journal, where it will be things that I will be grateful for, having recognized that this is a trait that I want to work on changing. Tap the like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me. Thank you for watching. I hope you join me on my next adventure. Did Did I just do all that and not record? No, I recorded that.